Hello student, today I will explain to you Lab4, which is discussing the state management feature in ASP.NET. Um, now at the beginning just we need to understand that in traditional desktop application there is a little need to think about state management. Memory is plentiful and always available, and you need to worry about only a single user. This is about desktop application, but in a web application is a different story. Thousands of users can simultaneously run the same application on the same computer, each one communicating over a stateless HTTP connection. So these connections make it impossible to design a web application in the same way as a desktop application. Because of that, the most significant difference between programming for the web and programming for the desktop is the state management that we will talk about it in this lesson. Now, what's the meaning of state management that we are talking about? It's about how you store, as you can find, the information over the lifetime of your application. And this information can be as simple as a username or as complex as a stuffed shopping cart for an e-commerce store. So understanding this state limitation is the key to creating efficient web application. Therefore, in this lesson, you will see how you can use ASP.NET state management features to store information carefully and consistently, and you will explore different storage options, including a view state, cross-page posting, a query string. So this is what we are going to discuss it today. You will also consider how to transfer information from page to page by using a cross-page posting and the query string, as we said. So the first feature that, or the first way to store information that we need to talk about and take example about it is using a view state. So as we can find here, using a state is one of the most common ways to store information is in a view state, and the view state uses a hidden field that ASP.NET automatically inserts in the final rendered HTML of a web page. So it's a perfect place to store information that use it for multiple post backs in a single web page. So we will take example about how to use the view state. So by the way, the view state is not limited to web controls. Your web page code can add bits of information directly to the view state of the containing page and retrieve it later after the page is posted back. So the type of information you can store includes simple data types and your own custom objects. This is what we can store in the view state. Now, before we create an example or website about the view state, let us see how to store information in the view state and how to retrieve information from the view state. So for example, if we consider this code, this dot view state, and the view state name is counter equal 1, this places the value 1 into the view state collection and gives it the descriptive name, which is counter. So here we are saving the value or store the value in the view state. Now, how to retrieve the value from the view state? So the code that retrieves the counter from a view state and convert it to an integer, we can find it here. We can declare a variable like counter, and the type of the variable is integer. Then I will say counter is equal. Of course, here we are going to convert the value in the view state to integer to be saved in the integer counter. So again, we are going to use this dot view state and the name of the view state collection, which is counter that we declared before. By the way, this is optional and refers, as you can find here, refers to the current page object. You can use it or of course ignore it, and as we said, it's optional. Now let us create this simple web application to know how to use the view state. So I will switch to the Visual Studio. let us create a new website. I will go to File, a new website. Then I will select Visual C# empty website. I will call it Lab4 underscore view state. Now the website is already created. I will add web form into the website. Add a new items, Visual C# web form. So we can keep it as a default web form. We will not change the name of the web form, then it will be added. So as we can find here, we will add only a button and label. So this example actually that we are going to create is a simple counter program that records the number of times a button is clicked. Now, without any kind of state management, the counter will be locked at 1. So when I click on the button, always will give me the same result, which is 1. Now, to solve this issue, because of that, we are going to use the view state, as we can find here in this exercise. Now, let us add a button into the web form. I will change two properties: the text of the button to be increment, and the ID of the button, I will use the prefix CMD increment. Then I'll press enter after the button twice. Then I will add label. Now I will change the ID of the label to be LBL count, and I will remove the text from the text property. Okay. Now I will answer this actual exercise without using the view state at the beginning. So I will double click on the increment. I will create variable here. I will call it integer. For example, counter is equal 0. Then every time we click on the button, I will increment the value of the counter by 1. Then display the updated value of the counter on the label. Because of that, I will say label count dot text is equal counter dot to of course to convert it to string, and then display it with the label. So look, now let me save my work, and then I will run that on the browser. Okay. So now if I click on the button for the first time, we'll display the result 1, as we can find here. But if I click again, so it will be blocked with the same value, which is 1. So now what we are going to do, we will use of course the view state as we said. Then I will back to the button. I will change the code that we have it here. Now I will declare again a variable which is called counter. Now I will check if the view state, when I click on the button for the first time, of course the view state, its value will be null. Then I will add or save 1 in the view state. Because of that, I will use if statement. I will say if view state, and we will call it also counter. This is the name of the view state. If it's equal null, that means I clicked the button for the first time. For sure it will be null. Then what we will save in or what the counter value will be, the counter, it will be 1. This is for the first click. Now what about if it's not null? That means it's a second click or third click. Then I will say else. If it's not the first click on the button, then I will say the counter will equal of course the value of the view state. I will convert it into integer by using this casting. Then I will say view state and the name of the view state, which is counter. Then I will add 1 into the counter. Then after that, I need to display. So for the updated value for the counter, it will be saved in the view state to be used for the next click. Because of that, I will say view state of counter. It will be equal the value, the latest value, the updated value of the counter after we increment it by 1. So therefore, then I will display the result on the label count dot text is equal. I will display this text counter plus the value of the counter, of course the updated value of the counter, to be converted into string. Now let us save our work and check the result. So when I click on the button for the first time, it will display the counter is 1, but when I click for the second one is 2, then 3, 4, 5. So it's working perfectly by using the view state. So this is about how to use the view state, and we can find here we have saved the value of the counter in the view state. This is how to store information in the view state, as we can find here in this line. And of course for this line we can find how to retrieve the value from the view state. So we will get the value from the view state, we add 1 into the value, then we save it in the counter variable. So this is simply how to use, of course, a view state, as we say, to store information, and we have seen that in this exercise about the view state. Now we have another use for the view state, as we can find in on the slides of Lab4, which is called retaining member variable. So with the retaining member variables, of course, you have properly noticed that any information you set in a member variable for an ASP.NET page is automatically ignored when the page processing is finished and the page is sent to the client. So interestingly, you can work around this limitation by using a view state. Now, the basic principle is to save all member variables to view state, okay, when the page, when the event page.prerender event occurs, and retrieve them when the page load event occurs. So with the pre-render event, when the pre-render event occurs, we will save all the member variables to the view state, but when the page is loaded, or the event occur of the page load, then we will retrieve, of course, the member variables from the view state. Now we have to remember that the load event happens every time the page is created. Anyway, so we will create this example or this exercise. So the following example using this technique with a single member variable, and we will name this single member variable, we will call it contents. So we are going to use, as we said here in this example, two events, event handlers, which is a pre-render that occur before the page load, and we will use and of course we will use the page load, of course, another event handler with this example. Now this is the design that we will use it or will create, which is contains text box with of course multi lines, and of course two buttons, save contents and then to load the contents. Now we will answer the question at the beginning without using a view state. We will see what the result that we can get without a view state, and then after that we will use a view state. Now let us design this page by using of course Visual Studio. So what I'm going to do, I will let us create or add a new web form into this website. So I will go to the website, add a new item, then I will change the name to, let us call it member variable. Now let us design it. I will add the text box. I will of course name the text box to be, or change the ID to be txt value. Change the width, the width to 500 and the height to 200. Then I will change also the text mode, so instead of single line to be multi-line. Then after the text box I will add a button. I will change the text of the button to be save contents. And I will change the ID to cmd save. Then just beside this button I will add another button. I will change its text to load contents. Then I will change the ID property to cmd load. Now what we want to do, so if the user entered the value here in the text box, when I click on the save button, so it will be saved in the member variable that we will create, and then when I click on the load button, the value that we saved in the member variable, it will be displayed again on the text box. So let us click on the now let us create the member variable. So I will create member variable just inside the class here, just before the page load event. So I will call it the private. The type of the variable is string and the name of the variable is contents. Now this is what we call it, member variable, that can be accessible by any method in this class. Now when I click on the save button, now here we have the command save. When I click button, of course, when I click on this button, what I'm going to do, I will say the value of the contents variable will equal what we have entered in the text box. Then after that I will clear the text box. So I will say text value dot text, dot text, it's equal nothing. Now this is when I click on the save button. Now what about of the load contents? Of course, what I saved in the content variables, it will be displayed on the text box. Because of that I will say text value dot text, it's equal the value of the contents variable. Now we have answered this exercise without using the view state. So look now what I'm going to do. I will run this page. So for example, I will enter my name here. Now when I click on the save contents, now the value that we entered in the text box has been saved in the contents variable and the text box is cleared. Now logically, when I click on the load contents, what I saved in the variable, it will be displayed on the text box. So when I click on the load contents, nothing will be displayed on the text box. Why? Because when I click on the load contents, that means the page is posted back to the server, and of course the value that we have saved in the member variable has been of course cleared or removed from the member variable. Because of that, to solve this problem, we could say then to fix this problem we need to use the view state. So look what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the page render, as we said, page.pre-render event, which as we said occurs just after the page processing is complete and just before the page is rendered in HTML, to save the contents in the view state, and then when I click on the load contents button, it will be retrieved from the view state. So I'm going to create this event handler that is called page pre-render. So what I'm going to do, I will copy this declaration signature of page load, and I will change it to pre-render. I will paste it at the bottom of the class. I will change page underscore load to page pre-render to save the value in the view state just before the page to be rendered on the browser. So what I'm going to write here, I will say view state, that I'm going to call it again contents, equal what? Equal the value of the contents variable before the page, as we said, is rendered on the browser. So I will say contents, because now when I click on the save button, the contents variable is equal the value that we entered in the text box, and before, when I click load, before the page is loaded, what I saved in the contents variable before, and before it released or removed from the contents variable, it will be saved in the view state, that we call it contents. Because of that, in the page load, when the page is loaded, I will retrieve the value from the view state and I save it again in the contents variable. So I will say here in the load, contents is equal, then of course what I'm going to say in the view state, I will convert it into string, because the contents, its type is string, as we remember here. Now view state, and the name of the view state is contents. Now let us check what happened now with the view state, how the result will be when I run this web form. So I will write my name again here, and when I click save contents, now what happened here, the value that we entered in the text box has been saved in the contents, and when I click on the load contents before the page is loaded, then the value of the in the contents variable, it will be set in the view state, then it will be persistent and it will be not removed from the view state. So when I click load, or when the page is loaded, the value from the view state, it will be, or the value will be retrieved from the view state and save it in the contents variable, and the load contents button will read the value from the contents and display it on the text box. So look here, when I click on the load, my name will be displayed again on the text box. So it's working correctly by using, of course, the view state. And we have discussed that during the lab, and what's happening exactly when I run this application. So this is about the view state we're using with the member variables. So we have seen that without view state, the value, it will be removed just when we post it back to the from the, of course, server. Now okay, so this is everything about the code that we have of course created just now with the web application. Now let us move to another topic which is also important for us. Just now we have seen is how to save information for the current page that we are using, and then of course reuse it with the page, as we have seen with the counter, and of course we have seen with the member variables. Now how to transfer information between page in ASP.NET. So as we can find here, one of the most significant limitation with the view state is that it's tightly bound to a specific page, not multiple page. But if the user navigate to another page, this information is lost. This problem has several solutions, and the best approach depends on your requirement. So there are two basic techniques to transfer information between page. One is called the cross-page posting, another one is called a query string, as we will discuss it today. Now the first feature, or the first technique to transfer information between pages, is called the cross-page posting. So as we can find here, a cross-page postback is a technique that one page can send the user to another page complete with all the information for that page. Now the infrastructure that supports cross-page postback is a property named postback URL that we can use it to transfer the user from one page to another. So you simply set postback URL to the name of another waveform, as we will see in the exercise. When the user clicks the button, the page will be posted to the new URL with the values from all input controls on the current page. So we will create now a new website. We will call it cross-page posting, and then we will create or we will add two waveforms. One is called cross-page 1, another one is called cross-page 2. So let us back to Visual Studio. Then I will close this solution. Then I'll create a new website. I will call it Lab4 cross page. Now, as we said, we will add two waveforms, and the first waveform I will call it cross page 1.asp.net. Then I will add another waveform. I will call it the cross page 2. Now, as we can find here on this website, we have two pages. Now, I will open a cross page 1. I will design it as we have it here. It has the first name, last name, and with two text boxes and one button. So let us back to here. I will write here first name. Then I will add the text box. I will change only the ID for the text box. I will call it txt first name. Then I will add another last. Okay, let me put it here. Last name. I will add text box. I will change its ID to txt last name. Now at the bottom we will use a button. We will change the text value to as we can find here, a cross page post back. Cross page post back. And the ID of the button, we will call it post, CMD post, CMD post. Now I will do something here. Just I will change the font of the div by using a style, and I will select Arial instead of Times New Roman. So this is what we're having here. Now, as we said, for the cross-page postback, we have to use the property, as we mentioned it here, is the postback URL. So what I'm going to do, I will select the button. I will go to this property that is called postback URL. Then I select the page, because when I click on the button, I want to transfer the user to cross page 2. So I will select the cross page 2. Then I click OK. So what we need to do, we want from the user to run this page, page 1, then write the first name, last name. When I click on the cross page postback, it will be transferred into the second page, cross page 2, and display this information to on the page 2, because the title that we are discussing, as you remember, is how to transfer information between page. So look now what I'm going to do. I will open page 2. I will add label. Okay, I will change to label, let us call it result. Then I will remove the text on the label, and I can change the font to Arial. So here, name, a property, then I can select Arial. You can call it, make it bold if you want. Okay, anyway, so we will leave it as it is. Now, in the page load of this, of course, of this page, I will check if the previous page is not, of course, null. Then that means it's transferred from page 1 to page 2, and then we can get the information and display the result on the on the page 2. So I will write if a statement if a previous page is not equal null. That's mean yes, the user is transferred by using the postback URL property. So what we have to do here, if the user is transferred, the first thing, now this is one of the way that we can use to do that or to answer this question. So I will, because we have to, I want to get the information that, of course, we have it in the text box. So what I'm going to do, I will use text box class. Okay, text box class, and I will call it, let us say, again, txt f name, first name, equal. Now I will cast by using text box class again a previous page. So what I'm going to get from the previous page, which is the name of the text box, that is called txt first name dot find control, and the name of the control on the first page is called txt first name. Then I can access to the information entered in the text box by using this object name that is called txt f name, first name. Then I will create another one, text box txt l name, last name, again is equal. I will do casting for the text box for the previous page dot find control. The name of the control is txt last name, and we can make sure from the names, just when I go to page 1 and select text box 1, we can find is txt first name, and text box 2 is txt last name. So we are, of course, using the correct name. Now after that, I need to display, as we say, the result on the label that we add on the page 2. So I will say label result. Label result dot text is equal. I will say welcome plus txt first name dot text. Then I will add a space plus txt last name dot text. This is what will be displayed. What we entered in the of course text box is on the first page. It will be displayed on the second page. Let us save everything here. Then I will run this web form, page 1. So, okay, I'll write my name and my last name. Now I click on the cross page postback. So look, now on the second page, welcome. This is my first name and my last name. So very easily I can transfer information between page, as we have seen just now. Now this is one of the methods that we can use, a cross page postback. And in the page 2, in the page load, we have created two objects from the text box by using the previous page dot find control. Now we will use another, of course, way rather than using this way. Now let me create another way to do that, to transfer information. In page one, I will create a method. I will call it public. So look, now I'm in page one, across page one. Now we have the post button and we have page load, but I will create a new method. I will call it, it will return string value, and I will call it full name. Now what I'm going to do here in this method, just to get the first name and last name that we are going to enter in the text boxes. So I will say return the text value in the text first name dot text plus, then I will add a space to return the full name, first name and last name dot text. Now this is what I'm going to do in the just in the page one, but in page two, here again in this page load event handler, I will not use the find control method as we did just now, but before the if statement, I will use the name of the first page across page one. Then let us call it the previous page. Previous page is equal previous page as, and again the name of the page one across page one. This is another, as we said, way to transfer or to get information from the previous page. So here in the if statement, of course, if the previous page is not null, again I will display, but of course not by using the text first name, because we didn't create these objects. We will use welcome and the name of the object that we create just now, previous page or prev page. So I will use a prev page dot the name of the method, which is full name that we created in page one. Now look, if I back to page one, the name of the method is full name, so I can access to this method or invoke this method by using the object that we created, by using the name of the page, which is across page one, as we can find here. Now let us check that if it's work with us. Sorry, we have to run page one. Now I will write my name here again and my last name, and click on the cross page post back button. Again, will give me the same result. So we have learned just now two methods to do that, to transfer information between two pages, by using the find control method with the previous page, or of course by using what we have done just now. I can create a method that will return the full name or the information entered in page one, and then I can display it on page two by using cross page one, which is the name of the create object from the page one, or instance from the page one. This is about how to transfer information by using a cross page postback. But remember, in page one here with the button, we have set the property postback URL to page 2. Now, as we said just now, here we have another technique to transfer information between pages called the query string. So let us see how can we do that with the query string. So we can find here another common approach is to pass information by using query string in the URL. So this approach is commonly found in search engine. For example, if you perform a search on the Google website, you will be redirected to a new URL that incorporate your search parameters, as we can find here in the example. Now the query string, it will start with the question mark, as we can find here. So now, how to submit a single query string argument to the destination page. So we can find here the query string is a portion of the URL. You can find the query string with the URL after the question mark, as we can find here in this example. If you remember, we said if I want to transfer the user to another page, we can use response.redirect. So now I'm transferring the user to new page.aspx with a query string, because here we have a question mark. The name of the of the query string is called record ID, and the value of the record ID is 10. So this one is transferred to the new page.aspx. Now, how to retrieve this value from the query string? So we can find here in the next slide, you can of course you can send multiple parameters, but now I need to see how to receive, or the receiving page, how can receive the value from the query string. So what we are going to do here, we will create variable string, we call it ID, then we will use this method request dot query string. What's the name of the query string we use it here is called record ID. So I will use record ID. What I saved in the query string, it will be saved now in the ID variable. Now, in case if you want, as you can find here, if you want to send multiple parameters, so of course they are separating the multiple parameters with the ampersand, as we can find here in this example. We are transferring the user to a new page, then here we have a question mark. So we'll start with the query string. The first query string argument is called record ID, and its value is 10, and the second one is called mode, and its value is full. And of course I can add more arguments if I want, and depends on the requirements of the web application that I'm developing. So let us do that. Now we want to, for example, create very simple. Let us use a query string for the same. This example I will keep it for you. You try it at home. But for me, I will use the same here application, but without a cross-page postback. So I will change everything here. Or let me just create a new website to be clear for you. So I will create a new website. I will call it Lab4 query string. Lab4 query string. Then I will add two web forms. The first one, it will be called let us say page 1, and the second one I will call it a new page. So I will call it a new page. So I have two pages now, but I want to transfer the user by using a query string, not by using cross-page postback. Now in page 1, again I will for example write here first name. I will add text box, and I will change the ID to txt first name, and below I will add last name. I will add text box, and I will change its ID to txt last name. Now I will add a button. I will change the text property to a new page, and the ID I will call it cmd new page. As you can find here, I'm not going to use a cross or postback URL that we have used with the previous exercise, because now I'm going to use a query string. I will change the font of the div to be Arial. Okay. On page 2, as usual, we have to use a label that we will display the result on that label. So I will call it LBL result, and I will remove the text from the text property, Okay, and I will change the font to Arial. Sorry, this one is Arial. I will change also the font color. Okay, I will use this color, and I will make it bold. So this one just to style the result, and at the end is up to you. Now in page 1 we need to redirect the user to new page. Because of that I will use response dot redirect as we can find here, to where? To the new page. So everything, it will be inside two double quotation. So two double quotation here. Now the page that I want to transfer the user to is called the new page.aspx. Then I will add a question mark for the txt first name dot text, and the first one is called, let us call it f name. First name is equal txt first name dot text, and the second one is called l last name is equal txt last name dot text. Now here on the second page, on a new page, so here in page load I will open the page load for new page. I will say I have a string, let's call it the first name. It will equal the f name, the request, as we can find here, the request dot query string. So I will say request dot query string for what? For the of course, what we call it f name. This is the argument name in the query string. Then I will create another variable. I will call it last name. It's equal request dot query string, and the name of the second argument is l name. As just let us check, make sure from that we have l name and f name. Yes. Now we got the information from the query string. Then I will say the label result dot text. It's equal again welcome plus first name plus, here we add the space plus the value of the last name. Okay, so let us save our work and we will run page 1 to test that. So I will write here my first name, and here I will write my last name, and I click on a new page. Oops. Okay, so let us check what the mistake that we have done. Let me back to, okay, here. This is the query. Oh yeah, okay, I'm so sorry for that, because here I have to close the double quotation here plus with the value of the text first name, then a plus, then here I will use double quotation for the second argument, which is last name, and I will remove the double quotation here. Now yes, this one, it should work like this. So here what I'm saying here, I want to transfer the user to the new page with the two arguments. The first argument is first name is equal the value of the text first name dot text, and the second argument is last name and the value which is text. Of course, here I have sorry, I have to add a plus. Text last name dot text. Then after that, in page 2 or a new page, as we said in the page load, I'm going to retrieve the value from the query string and save it in first name, retrieve the value from the last name query string argument, then I save it in last name and display it on the label. So let us save that and try, and hopefully it will work now this time. So here we have my first name, my last name, then I click new page. Yes, it's working now. So we can find the information is transferred to the new page and display it on the label by using the query string. So this is how to use a query string, and you can find there is an exercise on the, of course, Lab4. You can try it by yourself to display here. This is the first page, the design for the first page, and this is the query string. And then this is how the result will be displayed on the second page by using the request.queryString and then formatted with CSS if you want. So this is everything for the state management that we need to understand. We have seen how to use the view state, then how to use the view state with the member variable to retaining member variables. And after that, how to transfer information between page. We have used two techniques only, cross page posting by using the property postback URL and query string by, of course, using the query string with the response.redirect, and then how to retrieve the value from the query string. Of course, there are other techniques in ASP.NET, like for example, we have session state and we have cookies, but it's not in our scope. We are focusing only on the query string and cross-page posting. I hope it will be useful and to reviewing your or to refresh your, of course, information about the state management with ASP.NET. Thank you so much, and wait for me for the next lab or next lesson as about the validation in ASP.NET. Have a nice day.